Dave Chappelle was recently filmed at a community meeting.
I saw.
Where he basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, that there was a housing project that was planned to go up in his city where he lives. And he had a problem with the low-income housing part of that project.
Right.
And he said in the meeting that if they go forward with that part of the project, he's going to pull all his investment out of that city, which I think $65 million.
Right, it was.
And I had some friends who are not into entertainment or whatever else that hit me up and they're like, damn, like they're actually kind of shocked when they saw that video. And it's not like he was paraphrasing or, he's being misquoted. There was an actual video of him saying that. You know Dave Chappelle?
I do.
What were your thoughts about that?
The first thing I thought is that it's not too much different than I said with Rogan. You could take somebody out of context, but I think it's the character I look at.
Okay.
And it seems against his character, so I'm willing to what I want to do is get some level of context. So I saw the video and I've seen it a couple of incarnations of it. I don't know what preceded. Now I feel like a police chief. We don't know what happened before. but I will say that as it is presented in the media, it seems out of character for the man I know and respect. So I don't know, because everybody was saying, well, it's low income housing so I don't really know enough about it to make an informed opinion. But if I did, and if I had found out that were at first blush what it would seem hypocritical to me.
Well, I think people, are enamored with Dave Chappelle, the comedian.
Sure.
The stand-up.
Sure.
Who has brilliant stand-up, like The Closer and everything else like that, which I thought was absolutely brilliant and did a great job and so forth. But you sometimes forget that this man's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And people that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars kind of want it their way. They push around their weight to have the environment that they want to live, that they would like to live in. At the end of the day, this is a city, like, where does he live? In
Springs, it's in Ohio.
Yellow Springs, Ohio.
Right.
I've never even heard of that place.
I've been there a couple times.
You've been there?
Yes.
To see Dave Chappelle?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. You go there
and it's a
you
couple,
don't just pass through Yellow Springs, Ohio, because you have some other
and we were in the
business
middle
there.
of it. But here's what I'll say. I also know what it's like to be a man.
Yeah.
Who is taken, particularly a man whose society. Listen, I don't want to be conspiratorial, but it's weird to me that he would have this dust up here, and then this comes up. So I would like to hear things with my own ears and my own perspective and come to my own conclusion. But having said that, if it were, I don't have a problem saying that what my estimation of what somebody does seems out of character with the image or the idea I had of them. I wouldn't have a problem with it at all. But I just all I've heard and seen are these two clips, and I'm like, okay, let's see.
Yeah.
But I know. Here's what I'll say for me. When I was a kid, there was Proposition 13. You didn't live here then. Proposition 13. It took out. Now I was living on 135th and Avalon. I'm in the 8th grade. Proposition 13 comes along, and it attaches everything to your property taxes. Mm-hmm. Well, if you live in Calabasas, you pay a lot more property taxes than you do if you live on 135th and Avalon. Yeah. And everything's commensurate. Mm-hmm. They took our after-school programs away. They took our busing away. I had to walk to school. They took all the things that made our communities more livable, they took away. Here I am, that same bill comes up 40-some years later, and I'm on the different end of it, and I think a different way. Mm-hmm. So whereas the 13-year-old me had a problem with Proposition 13, the 52-year-old me went, so I can also understand those nuances. But for me, when I hear this thing, because I want to make sure that I'm being as clear-headed and sober and honest as I can be, I just heard that for the first time yesterday. So. Yeah. It's just, I'm like.
I mean, he hasn't spoken about it. Right. He hasn't addressed it. He may never address it.
Right.
It may just be one of those things where it's like, I'm just going to leave this one alone.
Silence is often misunderstood, but never misquoted.
Right, exactly. And at the end of the day, listen, man, this is a guy that set up shop in the middle of nowhere because he loved the city.
Right.
You know, when I watched, I think when he was on David Letterman,
Right.
you know, on Netflix, you know, walking around the city, just talked about how much he loved the city, how much he loved the people.
It only took 2 minutes to walk through it.
Right. Yeah. It was like 3 blocks, you know, and it's like, yo, so you mean to tell me that someone who just falls in love with a city, who in the middle of nowhere, where, listen, Dave Chappelle could live in Beverly Hills. Yeah. Dave Chappelle could have a place in New York. Dave Chappelle could live in Paris, London, whatever. He has so much money that he could live anywhere on earth in the exact same type of house that he lives in.
Less corn.
Yellow Springs.
Yeah, less corn. But
less corn, but just as much land. He could buy that much land in LA if that's what he really wants, right? But he chose to live there, and he put millions of dollars in there, and he's created his own little world there, and he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So when he said it, it didn't sound all that out of character. It's like, yo, this guy's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, so he's going to try to create, you know, the most, you know, the environment that he likes the most. And if that means going against what other people want to do, and he's got $65 million of weight to push around, I think a lot of people would have probably done it like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, they wouldn't admit it. Everyone wants to maintain, oh, we're for the people. I'm for the poor people. I want to ever, you know, I mean, but.
Well, I said this before. We co-opt the language of the poor, but never their fight.
Exactly. So, yeah, you said that. You said that in
everybody got
an interview that you did.
Everybody got I'm poor story, and
I've got an I'm poor story.
Yeah.
My family came over here from what used to be the USSR with literally nothing. My parents couldn't speak the language. English was not my first language. And over the years, I made the American dream. But I still talk about my poor past. I still talk about living the projects in Springfield, Massachusetts, and stuff like that. But the reality is, did I grow up poor? No, I did not. I grew up in San Mateo, California, in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Yes, it wasn't the mansion that I live in now, but it was a comfortable home. It was safe. I lived in a nice middle-class neighborhood. I never had to go without. I never had to miss a meal. You know, I mean, yes, my parents couldn't buy me everything they wanted, so I started working, you know, still in high school. But I don't have the rags to riches.
But America's is predicated. Like, I know. I'll say this: what people will buy is a level of consistency, and I think that if you are generally in almost all situations who you portray yourself to be or what you evoke, then no matter what you do, there's pretty much a level of acceptance. But I think when it comes to comedically being a champion for the people. And no one, I don't think anybody ever puts that moniker on themselves. I think that people just kind of in the zeitgeist, put that in the zeitgeist, and all of a sudden it becomes, it takes on a life of its own. I think that you have to understand that there is a commerce and the reason you do a thing and the artistic component. They don't always have to be simpatico. But to me, when I hear these statements, I want to know for me what came before and what came after, because I have no problem telling you how I feel about that situation. To me, I can't tell you what it is, but I can tell you at first blush what it strikes me at. And I didn't have enough. I don't feel like I have enough perspective to make a statement. Not even a statement, because I would say something funny or just give you my broad blush assessment. I don't